New York is the place to be for bagels, and everyone has their favorite spot. I'm Henry Rosoff, and I love bagels. And now I'm trying every bagel I can get my hands on, one schmear at a time, and seeing how they stack up. Join me on my quest for New York's best bagel.
And welcome along for my ride to find New York's very best bagel. I am Henry Rosoff, the resident bagel enthusiast here at Pix11. There's my email address, henry.rosoff@pix11.com, if you want to go ahead and recommend a bagel. And boy, so many of you did. It was so gratifying to see the response after I reviewed Shelsky's and Zucker's just last week. I really do appreciate everyone sending me an email, coming up to me in person. Some of the offers I got were incredible. Learning about lox and the history of bagels, bringing in a bagel expert. Believe me, we will get to all of it, but I really want to start by getting a few reviews under our belt. I would say at least 10 or so. We do 2 per episode, so maybe just a few more episodes, and then we'll get into some special presentations and help you work through the history of New York City bagels. But for now, another bagel review. And we are going to begin with David's Bagels over in the East Village. Let's start by taking a look at my visit over to David's. As you can see on the sign for David's Bagels, it's been around since 1987, right here off First Avenue across from Stuytown. A real emphasis on an old school style bagel from this institution that's going on its 40th birthday. So I'm excited to get in there and try, but first a shout out to Patrick Givens, who recommended this shop. You can always recommend a shop to us, of course, so I'm gonna go on and get in there and place our normal order and see how it is. And back here now with our rules, just a quick refresher for everyone at home, how we play the name of the game here. We're going to score all these restaurants on a scale of 1 to 10 bagels. The standard order for us is going to be an everything that I put some scallion cream cheese on. In the case of David's, actually, they went ahead and called it chive cream cheese. That's fine. The whole point of this is I want some sort of fresh ingredient in the cream cheese so I can kind of taste that and get a sense for how they make their schmears. And then we're getting a plain bagel as well, just so we can really rip and tear and see if there's crackling on the outside and a nice chewy soft inside. And we're going untoasted, really simply as a function of schlepping all of the bagels here at the Pix11 studios and judging everything on an even field. And with that, let's bring in the Pix11 famous bagel cam. You can see my hands here. I have napkins this week. I didn't get coffee. One step at a time, we'll launch this show. And let's bring in the David's bagel bag for some unbagging. They gave me a plastic bag in this instance, and of course your standard brown bag. They bagged each individually. Let's see what we get first. So, ripping and tearing, and oh, there's the everything bagel. Ooh, a nice size. I really think it's a good balance of sizing here. Here's your up close and personal look. Good coating of the everything seeds. I really think this is a nice balance. We've seen a lot of coating. We've seen a little coating. This is well balanced. I'm very impressed by this. And let's open the plain bagel and give everything a try. You see, I want to point this out because I think this is one of the first times we're really seeing a good example of this on the show. Get right up in there. That sort of boiled cook mark. Really good sign of a good cook. I would have liked to see it more golden brown because you notice you're not hearing any sort of crispy crunch, but a sign that there was a promising cook here and a distinctly different bottom. Really appreciate that. So bring it back to the host cam and dig in with our very first bite of David's Bagels. Very nice. This whole show's a balance of me trying not to talk with my mouth full, so you'll excuse some of my rudeness here, but first reactions, nice fluffy inside. The outside, I'm not really getting a crispy pop from. It's a little bit disappointing, but I like the amount of everything seed. I like the flavor of the cream cheese. Again, not getting sort of a fresh pop of the scallion, as they call it. Let's go in for one more bite, and then we'll rip up the plain a little bit. It's nice. I mean, there's not a lot to complain about. It's overall, I'd say, pretty good, is how I would be describing everything right now. Let's rip and tear the plain a little bit before we make a judgment. Again, I'm a big fan of these marks right here. It is probably a little more on the, and I'm sticking it out here, A little more on the fluffy side than balancing sort of fluffy and dense. Give it a chew. Yeah, it's tricky, and that's why hand rolling these bagels is you know, such a chore. But um, you probably want to see a little bit better of a mix between fluffiness and density. So yeah, I would say overall a good, not great bagel. I'm never truly going to give a bagel a bad score. I love bagels so much. I'm not going to insult some restaurant where they really, poured everything into it and poured the love into it. But I would say, yeah, I mean, this is a 6. There's perfectly good bagel, not great bagel. The cook looked really promising on the plane. Let's go ahead and hop back into our bagel cam. I mean, this cook, I really looked promising, but I'm just getting nothing. Maybe a little crackle. Yeah. And again, the cream cheese, good, not great, not a huge pop of flavor. Really like the seed coverage and that seed tasting. That's probably my favorite part. So yeah, a solid 6 for David's Bagels. And again, if you have a bagel recommendation, much like Mr. Givens there, you can go ahead and email us at henry.rosoff@pix11.com. But for now, that will do it for our first bagel review. We will be back in just a moment for our second bagel review. Of course, we do 2 per episode. I hope you will stick around. And welcome back to New York's Best Bagel. I am Henry Rosoff, once again hunting for New York's very best bagel. So our episode continues now. We just reviewed David's Bagels on the east side. We're going to go ahead and review another Brooklyn spot over in Cobble Hill, and that would be Court Street Bagels. Quite an interesting backstory to this neighborhood institution. Not quite as old school as the one we were just chatting about. Let's take a look at my visit over to Court Street Bagels, and I'll see you on the other side. Court Street Bagels here in Cobble Hill, off Court Street, of course, not far from Bergen Street and the Bergen FG stop. Opened in 2004 as a neighborhood cash-only favorite spot, but briefly closed in 2024. Opened right back up immediately, accepting all forms of payment. I'm really excited to try this place because they make some pretty interesting and specific promises on their website. A perfectly dense inside, they promise, that good balance of chewiness and fluffiness, and they also say the outside should crackle beneath your teeth, which is exactly the type of bagel that I like, sometimes with those little boil marks from the cook process. So I'm going to go inside and place our usual order. So high hopes and expectations for Court Street Bagels. A quick recap of our rules. I know you just saw me review David's, but let's go over them one more time quickly. A 1 through 10 bagel score. We're ordering the everything with the scallion cream cheese on it to taste the fresh flavoring of the cream cheese and get a sense for what they do as far as topping their bagels. And then we're going to go ahead and have a plain bagel for ripping and tearing, which I think will be particularly important for this shop, which is promising that crackly outside. And then we're going untoasted because need to get everything here as fresh as possible. I go first thing in the morning before taping this show, so we want to be fair to all the shops, and if I toast it and then schlep it around for an hour, it may not taste as good. So we're going untoasted, but I promise we'll get into the debates about the merits of toasted versus untoasted on a future episode. And with that, the famous bagel cam. Let's go ahead and bring in the bag for Court Street Bagels. Just a simple bag this time. Plenty of napkins. Of course, I already have my own stockpile of napkins here. 1 bagel, 2 bagel, more napkins. What do they think I'm going to do with these things? Bag out of here. Bagel open. Let's do it. Okay, the biggest bagel we've had on this show so far. I mean, we've only done, this will be our 4th bagel, but still by far the biggest bagel. Here's that classic up close and personal shot. If I can aim it correctly at the camera as Joe laughs. Joe, our producer, laughs at me over there. Really seeing nice big chunks of the scallion right here right away, and really good coverage on the everything seating. Let's get the plain opened, and then I'll get into a bite of the everything. Oh, a nice distinct cook on the bottom, which I like, but I would not exactly call this a crackly top. But let's go ahead and let's start by giving it the old A little squeeze test. Oh, little crackle. Definitely, I like the bottom cook. This top cook, not quite what I was expecting, to be perfectly honest with you. You don't see those boil marks that we actually just saw on David's, for example. But I like the bottom cook here. Anyway, let's get into the taste, because that's most important, of course. And in 3, 2, 1, Court Street Bagels. Oh, too much. Too much. You know, I joked about them giving me extra napkins, and of course I bite in, and I definitely need extra napkins. Really nice, stronger flavors in this bagel, which I appreciate. Not overwhelming by any means. Bring back the bagel cam. You really do see, sorry to be a little gross here, but to tease out that you are seeing really nice, fresh chunks of scallion cream cheese right there. Whatever. I'm a mess at this point. I'll just eat it. The seed coverage is very good. Good balance of the sesame, the garlic, the poppy seed, everything. I'll give you another kind of shot there as I talk about this. Look at the bottom on this one. Really nice coverage there. Everything fresh. I'm not getting like a crackly crust as I bite in, which was one of their promises I was excited about. But that being said, a very, very good bagel overall. Let's see if this one kind of, yeah. The cook on this everything bagel is actually a little bit better than the cook on the plain, which happens. You know, they're not all perfect. Well, all bagels are perfect to me, but not all bagels are actually perfect. Digging into sort of this is a really, I can already tell, a nice balance of the denseness and the fluffiness. A nice balance on the inside. Overall, a really, really nice, really, really solid bagel. I think I have the score in my head. I don't think I'm going to stop eating, but I think I got the score in my head. This is, I was considering a 9, but I'm going to give it an 8.5. And the reason for that is really their own expectation promise level. I would really had high hopes for that crunchy outside with the boil marks and so on. But it didn't quite live up to that. But everything else about it was really, really nice. Let's go back to the bagel cam. I mean, happy with the fresh scallions inside, the cream cheese, the coverage on the outside of the bagel. Overall, just a really nice bite. You can taste the fresh ingredients. You know, so again, 8.5. Really, really, really nice bagel. Nothing real negative to say about it. I just had maybe higher hopes, and they were victims of their own expectations a little bit. But this is a really, really tasty bagel. Again, if you have a bagel to recommend, go ahead and email me at henry.rosoff@pix11.com. I've got the boys in IT working on a custom best bagel email address, but we're not there yet. Best to email me directly. Again, I'm so grateful and gratified that so many of you have come along with me for my quest to find the best bagel in all of New York City. And what's most gratifying is watching my 2 kids watch me try bagels. I always enjoy going out with the boys and getting some bagel treats. And it's been such a blessing to launch this show, and I look forward to trying many, many more bagels. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of New York's Best Bagel, and I really appreciate you joining me. Have a great day.